What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This will be my last video of 2020 and let's just jump right into it. What's going on, guys? Welcome back. I hope you all had a fantastic Christmas with your families, loved ones, friends, safely, COVID safely, of course. I myself spent Christmas at home with my lovely fiance and my two demon, one of which is about to give birth soon, so that's interesting. But that is not what we're here to talk about today. Today we're here to talk about my favorite lens, the SAMYANG or ROKION 85 1.4. But before I get into any of that, I wanted to thank everyone who has been watching consistently this year and who has been following me on all my social media and through all of those adventures. Thank you very much. I hope to see you all in the new year, and just because. Oh, you thought this was a real lens, didn't you? Well, I always do. Not even looking. Don't even care if it overflows. Cheers and Happy New Year. For those of you who are concerned, this is just iced tea in a rum bottle. Not liquor. Don't worry about it. It's fine. I'm sober. I'm sober. Just kidding. I am. Let's get to what we all came here for, huh? So for those of you who have followed my photography career from the beginning, it would be no surprise to any of you that I actually love this lens, because the 85mm lenses are my favorite focal lengths for a number of reasons. They are fantastic for portraits, landscapes, B-roll. They're all around fantastic lenses, and I can't get enough of them. All of my best shots were taken on 85. Some of my best video was taken on 85. Yeah, I can't recommend the focal length enough to anybody. This lens, however, I love specifically, and there's a reason for it, is because those of you who know Canon at all and have been following their more recent cameras, the R, R6, and R5, they've introduced a new mount, the RF mount, as opposed to their old, like 30-something-year-old EF mount, which has been around forever, it seems. This is actually for the RF mount. It's one of the only autofocus lenses that you can get for the RF mount. Now you can get, I think it's a 14mm f2.8 that you can get from the same company, SAMYANG or ROKION, depending on your region. It really varies, but I mean, look at this element. Huge. It should be no surprise that I love big lenses. They just, when you have a big lens, you know it's going to be powerful. You know you're going to get good results with it. For the most part, looking at you, Nikon. But I love it. Its widest aperture is 1.4. Its smallest aperture is f16, which I thought was really weird because you can get much lower apertures for most lenses. So f16 was a bit of a shock to me, but I'm almost never going to go down to f16, like, ever. I shoot a lot of low light street photography, low light portraits, low light everything, so the 1.4 really benefits me in a lot of different ways, and this is actually my first f1.4 lens. It's great. It's good. I did hear a lot of rumors about this lens before I bought it, the autofocus really isn't that great. Now for video, I haven't really tested the autofocus too much, but for stills, for photography, the autofocus is on point. I've rarely taken a photo using Canon's IAF and it hasn't nailed it every single time. And I'm sure it's even better with the R6 and R5 lenses, or R6 and R5 bodies, not lenses. Stupid. But I haven't had the opportunity to test this lens out on those camera bodies yet. I'm looking forward to hopefully doing that in the future, because I do want to upgrade from the R, or keep the R as a second body and have the R6 or the R5 as my main body. This lens weighs in at about half a pound, 0.45 of a pound, or I think it's 226.3 grams, if I remember correctly. I did some Googling earlier. I should probably know all this stuff. The lens comes as you see it. ROKION has taken to, and SAMYANG has taken to adding that red ring around its lenses, kind of copying it off Canon a bit, but different shade of red, more of a metallic red than more of that dull kind of not metallic red. I don't know, but it looks good, it feels good. Let me show you some photos. Now, this first photo I took, I was out with my friends Michelle and Mark, and they recently they brought along a friend. I think his name was Taylor, and I propped this down. So I propped my camera down on a cement ledge that was like just a few inches from the edge, and on the other side of that edge, 100-foot drop right into the ocean. I was super nervous, but I cranked down the f-stop. This was shot at f5.6, 2-second exposure, ISO 100. So I set it down, I set a timer, and Michelle turned on her cell phone flash and drew the halo around his back, which it was great. It turned out a lot better than I thought it would. I wasn't sure it was going to turn out until I took it in a post and threw a preset on there. It turned out fantastic. This is another photo. Same guy, Taylor. Same night even, we went out and I was helping Mark learn how to do like street photography and learn how to do low light and all that. This is a f1.4, 1/250th of a second, ISO 4000, and as you can see in the photo, the camera handles higher ISOs, like 4000 ISO. It might not be very high for some people. It's high for my standards. The camera handles it really well. It's beautiful, it's clean, everything is sharp. Don't even really need to touch anything. It was really low light, and that's where the f1.4 comes in and brightens everything up, makes everything a lot easier. And then there's this photo, I think you saw it, I used it in my last video, of my buddy Blake. He runs his own photography company as well, at Matchstrike Digital Productions. You can check him out, links below. So I've got two here actually. This first one with the Christmas lights I thought was fantastic. I actually didn't shoot this wide open. I shot this at f1.8. I'd step way back, ISO 1600. And I don't know how I got rid of the camera shake in this. I must have been just really cold and frozen in spot. But my exposure time was 1/50th of a second. I don't know how I did that. I think that was just a fluke, and I wasn't paying attention to my camera settings, and it just happened. Who knows? This next one is another one of Blake, and I actually really, really love this photo. We spent at least 45 minutes waiting on the side of the road in Gastown in downtown Vancouver, waiting for gaps in traffic, because we both wanted a shot like this, and it kind of worked out. It worked out pretty well. It was a little bit easier for me because I don't carry around like a flash and a lighting stand and a softbox. Blake does, so it was a little bit more difficult getting a photo of me for this. But when I took this photo of Blake, I shot it wide open, 1/250th of a second, ISO 4000. Worked out perfectly. We got that nice lighting around the side, the Christmas lights in the background. Everything turned out great. I love this photo. It's fantastic. Now, a lot of people assume that primes are only good for portraits. That's not necessarily the case. This lens in particular is fantastic for not only portraits, but just regular street photography as well. I got a photo here of a bus right down near where I live, across the street from the mall. F1.4, 1/250th of a second, ISO 800. It works. You got the rain droplets in there and everything. It works out great. Just as another example of not portrait photography, there is this picture of the sign on the new mall that's going up near where I live. I really like this photo. Wide open at 1.4, 1/125th of a second, ISO 1250, 85 mils. It works. Having that kind of not quite telephoto length does have its benefits, which I love, I enjoy. I don't know what else to say about it. Now, this lens you can get for $952 on Amazon right now. In Canada, don't ask me about US prices. I don't know. Just do the conversion on Google. It's easy enough. The one thing that I will say about this lens that I wish they had changed, or I wish that they had incorporated, is a much shorter minimum focus distance, because right now it's 2.95 feet, so just under 3 feet. That's about the distance between the camera, this camera right here, and myself. It's about 3.5, maybe 4 feet, so maybe just a little bit less. And it makes it challenging sometimes. Like, I wish this had macro capabilities, because if this had macro capabilities, I'd be going nuts. This would be the only lens that I would ever use in existence. Most of my older shots, when I first started out with full frames, were on an 85. They were on the 85 f1.8 from Canon. When did that lens come out? I think it was 1989. I think that lens came out. It still holds up today. If you haven't transferred over to like the RF mount and you have an EF mount, or even an EFS mount, the crop sensor mount, highly recommend that lens. It's something like $700. It's got a fairly fast aperture. It's gonna do a lot for you. That was my second prime lens that I ever bought for a full frame camera, and I loved it. I used it for everything. Some of my best photos were taken on that lens. Some of my best video was taken on that lens, even though it doesn't have image stabilization. This doesn't have image stabilization either, just in case you were wondering. I guess my point is the 85mm focal length is so diverse in what it can do, and just provides a really good experience when you use it, and a really good product. The compression that you get for portraits is phenomenal. Like, maybe, I don't know if I'm gonna decide to do this in post or not, but maybe I'll put some other photos up just to show you some of the ones I took with the older lens and with this one. The portraits you get from these are phenomenal, and the wider the aperture, the better. I do a lot of nighttime photography. I do a lot of street photography at night, low light. Even like when I'm in my apartment, it's not overly bright in here despite giant frickin' windows. Somebody explain that one to me. You're not going to go wrong with an 85. Okay, if you're just starting out and you don't have a huge budget, I understand completely that $1,000 for this lens or $700 for the older version might be, you know, a bit of a stretch. Yeah, might be a little bit out of your price range, but I'm telling you, this is going to be one of the ones. Before I switched over to the R, I had 3 prime lenses and 1 zoom. I love prime lenses. I swear by them. That being said, I'm going to try and transfer over to zooms just to make my kit a little bit lighter, and I'll have a little bit more flexibility in what I can shoot. But if I'm going out at night, if I'm going out to shoot portraits, if I'm shooting a model, if I'm shooting events, I'm taking this. This lives in my camera bag. It lives on my camera pretty much. If I still had my 6D Mark II, my older 85, was basically glued to that thing the whole time. If I had to pick one focal length the rest of my life, 85 mils. I am way too thirsty. It's freaking hot as hell in the studio right now. It's incredibly hot. I don't even know why. All in all, I'd say this lens is worth it. It comes basically as you see it. And it comes with this massive friggin' lens hood, which just makes it look bigger. Maybe, I guess, a bit more professional if that's something you're worried about, looking professional. Me, not so much. I don't, especially this year with COVID, I don't go out and do a whole lot of events. But if I did, I'm gonna bring this with me anyways. It does look fairly professional, especially with the red ring that makes you think it's a Canon lens. I don't know. That being said, I'm running out of things to say about this lens. It's fantastic. I highly recommend it. You should buy it. End of story. Now, this is my last video of 2020. However, I'm not done. I'm going to be putting out a video probably next week. I think you're probably going to end up meeting my fiance in that next video. We're going to be putting this together. Focus. It's a deck box, so it holds, well, decks of cards. A few years back, I was really into card magic and cardistry and all that kind of fun stuff until I injured my hands during my day job, which is the last 5-6 years been security. Happens more often than you might think, but I've been trying to get back into it, build up some finger dexterity. I've collected a few decks so far, and she got this wonderful puzzle slash I guess deck box, deck holder for me, and she got me these cards too. Their design is beautiful. I'm not going to be overly pushing, doing a lot of photography videos. They will still be here, absolutely. That's probably going to still be my main focus, but I will sprinkle in small things, personal things. I don't want this channel to be all about photography. I want it to be about my life and my journey as well. And I think that's important. And who knows? I mean, you may see something else that you might like. That being said, Happy New Year's to every single one of you. Be safe on New Year's, please. I want this pandemic to go away so bad so I can get back out to doing the things that I love. And I'm sure you do as well. So be safe. Enjoy your New Year's. Don't drink a lot like I'm probably going to. And I will see you guys in the new year. Cheers.